A dark city, endless rain, 7 murders, 7 deadly sins. It's been over 30 years since Seven was released, and this was never a typical detective story. Just when we expect the killer to be caught, he turns himself in. He pulls the detectives into his design and carries out his plan right in front of us, exactly the way he wants. The catharsis we expect to feel by the end never comes. Instead, we're left with an ending that lingers, sharp and impossible to forget. Because this was never really about catching the killer or stopping him. John Doe wasn't the cause, he was the result. And Seven goes beyond the surface of a crime story. It's not interested in simple good and evil. Instead, it forces us to look at what we should really be afraid of and what we should be fighting.
I just don't think I can continue to live in a place that embraces and nurtures apathy as if it was a virtue.
William Somerset, a man who spent years in this decaying city, worked through hundreds of case files, and witnessed more pain than most people could bear. But he doesn't just look at crime scenes. Somerset looks beyond the act itself. He pays attention to the people around it, the ones who saw what happened, or more often chose not to see. In the very first scene, as soon as he arrives at a murder scene, the first question he asks is,
It's always these questions with you. Did the kids see it? Who gives a fuck? He's dead. His wife killed him. Anything else has nothing to do with us.
In this city, even a simple human question like that no longer has an answer, because no one here really cares who gets hurt. No one looks beyond the crime itself, and even if they do, they don't act. The whole city feels rotten, and that's exactly why Somerset wants out. It's not that he stopped fighting. He just knows the fight doesn't change anything. His conscience is still there, but the weight of what he's seen is slowly wearing it down. And as he approaches the final days of his career, David Mills shows up.
You want me to agree with you and you want me to say, yeah, you're right, it's all fucked up, it's a fucking mess, we should all go live in a fucking log cabin. But I won't.
He's young, angry, driven, still hopeful enough to believe he can change things. He arrives in a city the old veteran is ready to leave behind, full of energy, full of conviction. He believes he can deliver justice, catch the bad guys, stand on the side of what's right, but he has no idea what he's really walking into. In his world, the lines are clear: good or evil, guilty or innocent, sane or insane. For Somerset, those lines faded a long time ago. From the very beginning, that contrast drives the entire story. It's not just a clash between two detectives, it's a clash between two worldviews. On one side, hardened resignation. On the other, naive optimism. And as the gap between them widens, the city quietly creates its next monster.
We see a deadly sin on every street corner, in every home, and we tolerate it. We tolerate it because it's common, it's trivial. We tolerate it morning, noon, and night.
What John Doe does is horrific. The path he chooses is even worse. But where he comes from doesn't feel unfamiliar. He wasn't always a killer. At one point, he was just someone writing his thoughts down. Over time, those thoughts took over, and he convinced himself that action was the only option left. John Doe knows no one listens to polite warnings anymore. He believes people only look up when they're hit with something brutal, so he decides to be that force himself.
Wanting people to listen, you can't just tap them on the shoulder anymore. You have to hit them with a sledgehammer, and then you'll notice you've got their strict attention.
He has his own idea of justice. It's brutal, but in his mind, it's consistent. From his perspective, the world is already broken, and everyone living in it has played a part in that decay. That's why, in his world, no one is innocent. The greedy lawyer isn't just guilty of his own sins. He represents a justice system that's been rotting for years. The man who eats until his body gives out isn't just weak. He's a product of a culture built on excess and consumption. It's not just individuals who are guilty, it's the system that shaped them. And the film never shows John Doe committing the murders. Because this story isn't about what he does, it's about why. What's unsettling is how much of it feels true. Not because we agree with him, but because parts of it hit closer to home than we'd like. Because the truths he points to belong to the very world we live in. And that's why Seven isn't just a detective story. It's a harsh moral allegory about the world we've built.
If we catch John Doe, and he turns out to be the devil, I mean, if he's Satan himself, that might live up to our expectations, but he's not the devil. He's just a man.
Hannah Arendt was shocked when she attended the trial of Nazi officer Adolf Eichmann after World War II. He didn't look like a monster. He wasn't driven by some raging ideology. He was just doing his job. No questions, no reflection, just a bureaucrat going through the motions. And that's when Arendt realized something. The most terrifying thing about evil isn't that it looks monstrous, it's that it becomes ordinary. What's truly frightening isn't only the crime itself, but the people around it acting as if nothing has happened. And that's why every time we revisit Seven, we discover a deeper darkness beneath the horror of the story. We never know the name of that city, the one drowning in endless rain, swallowed by heavy clouds, yet every corner of it feels familiar. Because this city isn't just fiction, it's a place where people rush past each other on their way to work or home, where they chase the dreams handed to them, ignore the people beside them, hear things, see things, and choose not to react, where heads stay down, and footsteps just keep moving. And in a place like that, everyone becomes a potential accomplice. So in a world like this, what are we supposed to do?
What's in the box?
Not until you give me the
What's
gun.
in the fucking box?
In the final moments of Seven, justice never comes. Instead, we're left staring at a truth that's hard to accept. The box arrives, Mills pulls the trigger, the 7 sins are complete, and John Doe gets exactly what he wanted. But the real question isn't whether he wins, it's what's left behind. Because no matter how John Doe's story ends, the world he came from is still ours. So if everything is this broken, if no one really sees anyone else, if every voice has been quieted, what is still worth fighting for? At the film's darkest moment, Somerset says he's staying. The old detective who's wanted to leave this city from the very beginning chooses not to give up. It's not some grand revolutionary decision, and that's exactly why it matters. Somerset staying isn't a promise to fix the city, it's a refusal to surrender to it. What matters isn't what he says, but what he represents. Refusing to look away, choosing to keep listening, finding the courage to speak, and sometimes that's enough. Throughout the film, Seven shows us how that morality is lost, but it also suggests that it can be reclaimed, sometimes through the smallest act. That's why the film's only real note of hope comes in its final line.
Ernest Hemingway once wrote, "The world is a fine place and worth fighting for." I agree with the second part.
30 years later, Seven still unsettles us. It gets under our skin, because even today, in different forms, similar silences echo across the world. We grow used to injustice. People disappear into the crowd, and no one stops. In a world this divided and worn down, giving up isn't an option. Maybe Seven suggests that sometimes it's already too late. But as long as even one person refuses to stay silent, the final word hasn't been spoken.